boo 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 boo. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Axel Movie Reviews. My name is On the Brinker, and the heat is on! Because today I'm going to review the latest Legacy sequel, and that film is Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. This film is the fourth movie in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, and this movie is directed by Molloy, and this movie stars the return of Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley, with some original cast coming back, including Judge Reinhold and John Ashton, with some new people from Gordon-Levitt, Kevin Bacon, and Taylour Paige. Axel Foley returns to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life is threatened, and works with old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to uncover a conspiracy. So finally, we have the fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie. I think this movie has been developed for a very long time. Like, this movie was actually a TV series at one point with a plot that got cancelled, and now we got a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie. It's finally coming out on Netflix. And now here's the thing with the Beverly Hills Cop franchise for me. I'm not like the hugest fan of this franchise, but I really do love the first movie. I thought the first Beverly Hills Cop movie is an Eddie Murphy classic. What can I say? It's such a fun freaking movie, and what's great about all of these movies actually is Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley. Definitely one of his most iconic performances in his career. But with the sequels from the second one that I just find okay, and the third one obviously is a piece of shit, I was very skeptical for this movie because it's another legacy comedy sequel. Now, when it comes to legacy comedy sequels that are mostly coming out like in the past couple of years, some of them are just feeling more like nostalgic feds than actual films. Say for Eddie Murphy's first legacy sequel coming back, Coming to America, it mostly just felt like a nostalgic trend and just doing what the first movie did. Basically telling the exact same story that the first movie did. So from the trailers of this film, I wasn't like going into Netflix watching this movie with big expectations. Especially this come from a guy that's not the hugest fan of this franchise, even though I did like the first one. Not a huge fan of the franchise overall. So I'm just watching this as a film that is representing a legacy sequel and how it's going to turn out. And I gotta say, guys, I was actually really surprised by Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I think this is definitely one of the better comedy legacy sequels out there, and I think it's a bright representation of doing an action comedy legacy sequel right. Seriously, because this movie, yeah, it does have nostalgic trends. That's what you needed for that. But also this movie has a own story that just felt like, yes, this is a fourth installment in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. And I gotta say, Eddie Murphy, man, he has still got it as Axel Foley. It's like he has never left that character, because he is still that character. He is fantastic in the film. He still feels like the Axel Foley that we know and love from the franchise, but obviously more older. But what I loved about his character too is that there are moments in this film where he does his old tricks like in the original movies, and since now this is like this decade now, times have changed, which creates some really comedic tension with his character. But Eddie Murphy is still badass when he needs to be, and he's still hilarious when he needs to be. Eddie Murphy has never left his character. I think he's still great in this movie as Axel Foley, and he's definitely the standout of this film. Probably one of his better performances in a long time, actually. And with some of the old pals returning in this film, Judge Reinhold and John Ashton returning as those characters, I love them too in the previous movies, and they're still great in this film. Even though Judge Reinhold is not in the movie all that much, it's more about John Ashton's character. I still think them two are fantastic in this movie. So we got some old people returning, and we also got some new people in this film as well. Gordon-Levitt is really good in this film, and I love his chemistry with Eddie Murphy in this film, surprisingly. I actually think Gordon-Levitt is a really fun character in this film, and their chemistry really works in this film. He helps out with Axel in a couple of moments, and I think his character is very likable in the film, and their chemistry together is really well done in the film. And I also love Axel's daughter in the film, that's played by Taylour Paige, because her story arc with Axel is definitely the biggest focus on the film, and I was really interested in them two in this movie. It goes in the cliche story of like the daughter basically leaving their father and don't want anything to do with him, and then they just get back together somehow in this film. It definitely goes in that route, but it's actually done really well done because you understand both of their motives. And I think Taylour Paige's chemistry with Eddie Murphy is also really good in the film. It creates a lot of heart to the film, surprisingly. There are moments in the film where I'm like, damn, this film actually hit me deep at a couple of moments, and that's because of Taylour Paige. She is really good in the film. But this film definitely has the Beverly Hills Cop traits that we've known and loved throughout this franchise. The action scenes especially. This is definitely the biggest scope out of the entire franchise when it comes to the action scenes, and the action scenes of this film is actually really well done. There are some fun car chases, there are some fun gun shootout scenes. The one that stands out for me is actually the helicopter scene. That is actually one of the funniest scenes of the entire year. But definitely the action is really well done in the film, and yes, the comedy is still there. There's some really good comedic tension in the film because Eddie Murphy, he's still Eddie Murphy. He still plays basically himself as Axel Foley, and he just plays that character well. But the comedic tension in the film is actually really well done. But like I said, this movie has a surprising amount of heart and some serious moments too, which I was not expecting. And this film develops mixing these genres really, really well. This is a right representation of how you should do a legacy sequel. Basically, not just doing just the nostalgic tropes, which this movie definitely has that, which we'll get back to that later, but this film still felt like its overall own thing, you know? It felt like a Beverly Hills Cop 4, not a nostalgic fest like some of the other legacy sequels that come out, for example, Coming to America. But this film still has a nostalgic trance from the previous movies that I loved. The Axel theme is still in this movie, and it's just really good to hear that theme again. There are some remixes of the theme as well that's actually really well done in my opinion. And of course, the soundtrack. It has some of the same songs as the original, and I love that they bring that all back. So yeah, the soundtrack and the score of this movie is really well done. But yes, this movie is just an overall, just a fun movie overall, and I feel like that's how you should do a legacy sequel like this. With the old characters still feeling like the old characters that we know and love, and the new characters bringing into the film, they're bringing some freshness into the film as well. There are a couple of issues with the film. Overall, the case in the film that Axel goes for in the film wasn't the most interesting out of the series. I was more invested in him and his daughter in the film, like solving the case, but the overall like mystery case itself, I was not too interested. Actually, there are moments in Beverly Hills Cop Axel where I'm like, what is the case again? What is Eddie Murphy even there for? And also Kevin Bacon as the villain was just okay. He's good in the film, but his character is just, yeah, you know exactly how his character is going to turn out. He plays a very generic villain in this film. But man, guys, I was not expecting to actually enjoy Beverly Hills Cop Axel F as much as I did. This could definitely be in my surprising list of this year because I was not expecting this film to be good. But man, I had a fun time with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I think Eddie Murphy still has got it as Axel Foley. It felt like he just never left. Like, his character is still there, and this is one of the better Eddie Murphy performances that I have seen. The old cast from Judge Reinhold and John Ashton, they're great in the film. New people from Justin Gordon-Levitt and Taylour Paige. Everyone does a great job in the film. This is a good father and daughter film as well when it comes to that type of subject. And I think the film does that really well done. The case I wasn't interested in all that much, and Kevin Bacon plays a pretty generic villain. But overall, the action is great, the comedy is great, the nostalgia traits are there, and they put it in at the right time. This is definitely right representation of how you should do a comedy sequel right. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F has definitely felt like a fourth installment in the series, not just a nostalgic fest. And they're going to make a Beverly Hills 5, and I'm actually kind of curious where that's going to go, because some people could be like, why? But I said that why with Bad Boys 4, and it's actually going to be my favorite in the series, so hopefully Beverly Hills Cop 5 does the same thing. I would definitely say for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, definitely stream this movie. So guys, that is my review for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this movie, and what is your favorite Beverly Hills Cop film in this series. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, and have a nice day.